All right, there you are.
Great. Good morning and Guru Poornima greetings, Pragya.
Good morning and Guru Poornima greetings to you too. So let's begin. This live is actually titled Circle of 64, referring to the 64 Yogini cult. Hi, everyone. My name is Pragya Bhatt. I'm a yoga teacher and scholar based in Bangalore, and today I'm in conversation with my friend Sowmya Ayyar. Sowmya is an author. She's a scholar. She's currently doing a PhD, pursuing a PhD from BHU on the Yogini cult. And she just published her first book, a collection of poetry about India, earlier this year. Sowmya and I have had many interesting experiences all across India with not only with the Yogini cult, but also spiritual tourism, and all these interesting experiences we have in different kinds of locations off the tourist track also, which we often blog about. So today, it's a. I'm sorry.
You do. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
You you do it very often. I'm trying to become regular.
Yes, and I'm really enjoying the blogs that you put out. I find that they're very easy to read, but at the same time they have very profound insights on the topics that you choose to blog about. So those are
Glad you're
amazing.
enjoying them.
So everyone should follow Soumya's blog. Everyone should follow my blog as well. So, so let's begin with the questions. Soumya, so let's begin. Today's Guru Poornima. So the first question is about that. What does Guru Poornima mean to you? Who is a guru? In your opinion, who is a guru?
So Guru Poornima is about honoring the guru. And usually when we think of gurus, we often visualize this sadhu in saffron robe sitting by a riverside or in mountains and caves. That's the image that comes to our mind. Lord Dattatreya examined a little bit more closely and understood that really anybody who teaches and imparts valuable knowledge can be a guru. He himself wrote about his 24 gurus and learned from lessons from different aspects of nature, such as a bird that's caught in a net, and how it tries to escape. He learned from different types of people, including prostitutes. So I see the yoginis, both the Chausad yoginis as well as the contemporary yoginis and yoginis of all across the spectrum, you could say, as teachers as well, through the wisdom that they pass on through their lives, their legacies, their writings, and yes,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yes, yes, I would say that they are teachers, gurus, and that they continue to inspire us today with so many of the valuable lessons that we see in the stories that we're unearthing, that you are particularly unearthing in, through your PhD work. So, what inspired you to delve into the Yogini cult?
Yeah, Pragya, you spoke about this a moment ago, and I think it was our travels. It was you who said, we had been talking about these yoginis. You said, "Hey, we should go see these yoginis," and you found, okay, the most esoteric of all, the Ranipur Jarial temple, and you said we should go there, and I said, okay, well, you're doing the planning, and I think Animesh, your husband, also did some
Mm.
amount of research and planning and helped get us a good hotel and Banmali Palace, and also got us a driver and a car. So it all worked out. And that first trip to Odisha really got me thinking. And a few months later, we presented our findings and our awareness at Shakti Kumbh in Rishikesh, and slowly I began listening to lectures and events at BHU, watching my own life unfold. And I found myself in a unique position to tell the stories of my own lineage, of our lineage, a lineage of yoginis, because we in this contemporary world can be considered as yoginis. And a lot of times we're thinking to ourselves, oh no, like we can't go into spiritual path, that's for men. Men do that, and then men become the sadhus. Men become the ones who write the stories that we listen to and we learn from. But I got to thinking that if I'm here today, there must have been a woman before me. Okay, certainly my own family lineage. But then I also saw that these Chausat yoginis had their own spiritual practices that allowed them to build their siddhis, their strengths, while relying on the support of their sisters. So they were never alone in their endeavors. They worked
Mm.
together. They supported one another. And I think that's what really got me deeply interested in the yoginis, in just this idea of yoginis.
Yes, the sangha, the support, the feminism, you can say, women supporting women. Hashtag women supporting women.
Yes, absolutely. We should definitely put that down for
Yes.
when after this finishes.
I really like the way you describe your journey. It's very organic. Unlike a lot of other PhD topics, I feel like a lot of PhD topics come through academia. Like you study a bachelor's, you do a bachelor's degree, you do a master's, and then from there, you get the idea for doing a PhD. But here, it was your lived experience that sort of propelled you into a life of academia. And to examine these yoginis not from the angle of only, let's say, oral tradition or lived tradition, but also the academic side of it,
The
which
mix
I
of
feel is important. Yeah, and I feel all of these aspects are important, to preserve a tradition.
definitely, somebody recently asked me about my, do you feel like the academia is reducing your sadhana? Or kind of said, well, you should also do, and I said, well, I do that. And I think that the academia, when I study something, for example, right now I'm studying Lalita Sahasranamam with a friend of mine. We both know her, Priya Sukwani.
Oh.
And we just decided that we're going to start by just chanting and not thinking about anything. But then slowly we'll start building in one area at a time. We'll start reading about it and researching so that we understand what it is that we're chanting. Then when you understand it, then you can experience it with even more bhakti and bhava.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a person in physics, a physicist too. You know this. Your father-in-law is a
Mhm.
physicist. Um, they understand because they understand how that cell unfolds, how the flower unfolds. They understand the mechanics of it. And they understand the mechanics of it in all these different life forms. And they're thinking, oh my goodness, if it could happen like this and all these different ways, there's so many methodologies. But that's getting off of topic a little bit. So let's get back to it.
But tell me more about your PhD work. Tell me a little bit more. What are some interesting things that you've discovered that are generally not known by lay people about the yoginis? The yogini cult itself, I feel, is something that's not known. But for those of
Fairly,
us
yes,
who,
fair. Yeah.
but for those of us who know about the yogini work through your work, yogini cult through the work that you've done. And I think it's gaining a lot of traction in recent years. But for those people, what are some interesting things that they might not know?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about my own work and then how I brought the yogini, the Tausat yogini and the yogini cult into this. So my dissertation topic is understanding epistemological contributions of yogini sanghas to diplomacy, conflict, and peace. So what is diplomacy? And that is something that's often defined by through the Western mindset and the Western eyes. We think about Henry Kissinger, we think about Morgenthau, we think about these sorts of people. Indic knowledge systems, or IKS, includes the ideas that stem from masculine embodied souls such as Chanakya, Hanuman, Ram, and of course Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita. And I had a thought in my mind that if Krishna is considered the epitome of a diplomat and a peace builder, he must have also had a feminine counterpart who practices diplomacy and conflict transformation and peace building in her own methodologies for her own purposes, uh, in her own situations. And that person would obviously be Radha. So I thought to myself, well, and I'm definitely also researching Radha and the gopis. I'll be going to Vrindavan and Barsana during the Radha Ashtami this year. Um, I and I thought that, okay, well, this is a Vaishnavite tradition, and technically, although I don't know too much about my own heritage in this manner, technically I stem from a Shaiva family, and I've also been so interested in the Shakta Shaiva background in that lineage, and I thought about our travels more, read about the Yoginis more in different scriptures such as the Kashi Khanda, where they make their first appearance around chapters 44 to 46. This is a literature from the Skanda Purana, the longest Purana, and in it, Shiva and Parvati summon the Yoginis, the Chausat Yoginis, and task them with negotiating with the king of Kashi. So they act as Shiva's first ambassadors, first emissaries to Kashi. Now, their task was to, to convince the king to let go of of Kashi and allow Shiva to come back. Now, let's not worry about whether they succeeded in their mission. It was not successful, but also their successors, were also not successful for many, many times. So that's one of the really unique ideas that I have found. Now, most people read the story and say, well, if you read it in Sanskrit, then there's no term called ambassador or emissary. However, this is the work that they were doing. And it's up to us to recognize that and then learn from that. So another aspect that I'm going to say uncovered in quotes, because I'm saying this from the modern academic city lifestyle perspective, is the importance of Purnima or Paurnami to the yoginis. I've researched quite a lot using my own tools and research methods, as well as my research assistants. I haven't found any cohesive documentation about Purnima, about the concept of Purnima and Purnima celebrations across India. It is something that I'd like to do down the line. And how important that Purnima celebration is to inculcating the feminine qualities in us. We all know that at many of the hillock temples across and in villages scattered across India, the local community treks on the full moon day. They all go up on the full moon day to receive the blessings of the moon on her most powerful day. A day when we get the opportunity to cool off, relax, re-energize for the coming waning period of the moon, the Krishna Paksha. In Jyoti Shastra, Purnima and the moon, the Chandra, play an important characters in the stories of astrology. What's interesting is that every yogini temple has a specific Purnima associated with it, which I don't think has been documented as yet. And it's something that I will be doing in this next few months. I got this idea because when you and I first visited Ranipur Jarial, I remember telling you, we should go on the Purnima. Let's go on a Purnima. It'll be great. It's a yogini temple. We should go when it's a full moon day. And sure enough, we got there and we saw the end of the festival there. Had we known earlier, we might have gone a day or two earlier, which is what I'm doing now. So they celebrate, and that's the most important Purnima festival for Ranipur Jarial, for the Yogini temple there. Every other Yogini temple I saw then when I went to Benares and I was living there, I saw that Varanasi's temple in the Chausati Ghat also celebrates a Purnima, interestingly enough, which is the Falgun Purnima, which is also holy. And you'd be surprised that on that day, when people think, okay, people in Varanasi are going to be drunk with bhang and all sorts of other drugs in their system, it's holy, they're going to be throwing colors wildly. The people in this area come together, and from around the district and around the surrounding districts, they come, they stand in line. There is not even a space to stand. A moment, you cannot stop and say, oh, I want to do, no, I want to do research, I want to take pictures. There's not time or space for it. People are just moving from 5 a.m. onwards. I was there for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and There was no space. This is a temple that on any other day of the year, because I've gone many times, there's nobody. I'm the only person there. Maybe one other or two other people. A lot of people from Andhra tend to go there for some reason when they visit. It is in a generally Andhra and also Islamic settlement area. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they go there, because they've been settled there for many centuries and millennium, maybe.
Mm.
So yeah, I dug in and I found that some of the other temples, I dug into the Great World Wide Web, and I kept looking, putting different keywords in, and I finally found that Hirapur also has a Purnima celebration associated with it. Bedaghat and Mitavali also. And yeah, and so and then Khajuraho, I'm still to understand which is the exact Purnima. I have an idea, but unfortunately haven't been able to visit. So all of them
Mm.
have, and that actually leads me to believe that maybe at some point there were the 12 or 13 yogini temples which we have read about in Vidya Dehejia's book. There could have been more, and they have just gone underground or been demolished for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah. Yes. There is one in Kanchipuram also, which is not, which I think Padma Kaimal has looked at the architecture and tried to kind of relate it, draw parallels to a yogini temple architecture. So that's quite interesting. That temple's quite interesting.
So there may be these other
Yes.
temples that are
Mhm.
celebrating a yogini, and it'd be interesting to note if that Kanchipuram temple has has a Purnima, a specific Purnima associated with
Yeah.
it, where the festival is the largest.
Yes. And we're going to be looking forward to your blogs about all of these. Um,
I'm I will post some videos and blogs as I travel across.
So, how has your study of yoginis changed your approach to your own femininity and yoga? Has it changed it at all? And if yes, how?
Yes and no. So I'm not exactly sure when this happened. Maybe it was this time in Kashi. Maybe it was the association with the yoginis and just learning about them, learning about their ideas of strategic planning and their administrative roles in our lives and the universe. Um, I just began to realize that everything is within the womb of the goddess, to quote you. Everything. And we all exist in that space. And we're all like little cells of a human body, but all living beings in this big womb are all little beings inside interacting. And I feel, that may be the most poignant transformation. And that has now become my guiding focus in life, that I want to understand and really appreciate this divine feminine goddess that has created this universe for us.
I hear that you're also talking about connection, about seeing how all of us are actually connected, how the whole universe is connected. And I feel that ultimately that is what the practice of yoga is trying to do. Ultimately, I think as human beings, we are looking for that connection, you
Yeah,
know, and
definitely.
you're finding it through your work on the yoginis. The yoginis are kind of shedding light on that aspect for you. Our gurus do that for us, I think, at a very visceral level. That is what all of us are striving
Yes.
to. Yeah, that's
Yes. And
beautiful.
that exactly is what you asked in the beginning. How are the yoginis gurus? Because they're shedding light, they're dispelling my darkness.
Hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. Um, so I've seen, the steady stream of work that's coming from you, in terms of the blogs, in terms of like the book, I think was just beautiful. It's next to my bedside. If you have a copy right now, maybe you could show it, but I don't have mine right now. I'm just looking at my
Mine,
desk.
mine's somewhere else. Yeah.
But I feel like, you've done such amazing, impactful, beautiful work. And I'm loving the Instagram lives that you're doing, because it actually we get to see a part of India which is not there on Nat Geo. It's not there on any travel blogger
It's
influencers. So I'm really, really enjoying that. I'm enjoying your blogs as well.
thank you.
What are some other projects that we can expect coming
So
from you in the near future? Yeah.
yeah, so I am going to three of the temples that I've already visited. Of course, Ranipur Jarial and Hirapur. I'm actually going to Ranipur Jarial and Hirapur on their um, Purnima for their Purnima celebrations, because I want to see how that is a form of cultural diplomacy. And I want to be there and observe and, of course, interview the local people, whomever shows up. I'm also going to Mitavali, which will be while I'm in Vrindavan. I'll stop off at Mitavali. It's not too far away, 3 or 4 hours. Hopefully also meet some people. The last time I went to Mitavali temple, which was right around its Purnima, just before its Purnima celebration, and I expected to see, something happening, but I actually saw there was completely empty and there was nobody there. Now it's their festival happens during Chaitra Purnima, which is an extremely hot time of year anywhere across across the subcontinent, and in a place like Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, it's
Hmm.
unbearably hot.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why nobody nobody was there. Yeah, another thing is I'm planning to write an article for Journal of Dharma Studies
Hmm.
about the Yoginis and Purnima. And then looking forward, maybe in about a year, a
Hmm.
little more than a year, I hope that you and I can organize a sadhana and study tour at Ranipur Jarial, because while a lot of people are taking these retreats, yogic retreats and yogini retreats to places like Hirapur. I and Hirapur is just less than an hour from Bhubaneswar, so it's a flight and it's an easy flight and an easy
Yeah.
drive to get to Hirapur. Ranipur Jarial is in the middle of, as you know, nowhere.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to connect with anybody there. It
Mm.
was a struggle for us to even see other human beings on our long drive
Yeah.
across the state. And I think that makes it so special.
Hmm.
As far as I know, it is the last remaining of the Yogini temples that is independently held. And I'm really excited to be back there in about 3 weeks,
Oh,
August
wow.
5th or 6th. Yeah, they are famous. Their celebration is the Shravan Purnima, so it might be a little
Uh-huh.
bit rainy.
But that's okay.
Um, and that's rainy and humid, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you're describing, the whole journey to the temple, how it's in the middle of nowhere, and you hardly see anyone in the cab ride, like the cab ride that we took. It's so interesting, because when I read Vidya Dehejia's book, and I read it before we actually made the trip,
Yes,
it's
yes,
the same description. Like, the temple has hardly
it
changed.
hasn't
Maybe, yeah,
changed.
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe a few things, like Orissa has changed. The book was written about 50 years ago. Orissa has changed maybe a little bit, but actually the journey to the temple, where there's nothing on either side and you're feeling a
yeah,
little bit nervous, like she did.
eerie.
Eerie, yes.
Yeah,
And I remember it, even in the hotel, the people were like, no, no, it's a very local place. Don't go in the night.
don't go
And,
there.
so we were, yeah, so it really did add to the whole, like that whole environment of secretiveness, the specialness. It was just, I think, it was very atmospheric, and it was very interesting that she had described the thing that we actually lived, or
Yeah,
we
50
lived the
years
thing.
later,
We
40
lived
or
the
50
thing. Yes,
years. Yes.
exactly.
And yeah, I mean that region hasn't it has maintained itself just as is. And yeah, this time I have informed the hotel in advance. I have
Yeah.
emailed them. I said I am a researcher from Banaras Hindu University, and I will be going to Ranipur Tarial. So you need to make sure that I have a good driver and a cab who can take me there, and
Right.
and is okay with that. Because if you also remember, we were told by the the other temple trustee, the trustee of the temple, the Shaiva Vaishnava Bauddha temple that was on the riverside.
Hmm.
We were told you need to get out of here before the sun sets.
Yes.
Well, because the yoginis will come. Well, I do
Yes.
want to experience the yoginis
Hmm.
because I've experienced them over the years just in my life. In Banaras, I used to hear anklets ringing, and I'd wonder where's it coming from because there was no, it was a soundproof space.
Hmm.
And this
Well.
was right around, especially around the time that I was going to some of the other yogini temples. These anklets would come. And if you remember, I had some of my own freaky experiences there,
Yeah.
which I do not want to experience again. So I probably will leave certain technologies aside. But I would like to experience them as not just a deity, as a soul sister. And they
Mm,
continue to live in that space. And yeah,
beautiful. Well, wishing
thank
you
you.
all the best for this. And yes, I'm looking forward to collaborating with you on the sadhana and study tour. I think that's a very unique thing. A lot of people who are interested in yoga, who are interested in Indology, who are interested in Hinduism,
Yes.
will find it very useful. I think we've unearthed so many interesting things about the yoginis through your research, through our lived experience, and this is an amazing way of really interacting with the yogini cult.
And really,
Um,
both of us just living, understanding, and observing the yoginis, and then bringing them into our lives. Like, I'm excited if in a month or so we can have another conversation and observe the dance of the yoginis.
yes, yes, that would be amazing. Great. Great.
Thank you
So,
for that.
thank you so much, Sowmya. I know you don't have so much time. You're working on your thesis, and you're a very busy person. You're in Coimbatore right now. So, thank you for doing this. It's amazing that we did it on Guru Poornima, as the yoginis are our gurus. So, thank you so much. Looking forward to all the wonderful work that we're going to do together, and the work that you are producing right now with your PhD, your blog, your travels. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Pragya.
Bye.